Good morning, everyone. Let's try it again. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
That's almost everybody. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, there we go. So you can come in and have your seats if you like, or if you want to continue to stand, that's fine. We're going to get started this morning with our 1 million cups. Thank you all for braving the tricky weather that we're having. It was snowing yesterday. You know, it's my first spring in Tulsa, and I couldn't believe that we're getting snow in April after having an 80-degree day on Monday, Wednesday, and we're back in the 60s, and we're getting here going with 1 million cups. We have a wonderful, two wonderful presenters lined up for us this morning, and I just want to go over a few housekeeping things, and then we'll get right into the presentations. So I'm Aaron Wiggum. I'm Program Director at Atento Capital. We also have our, just go through our leadership team. So we have Sean McCroskey, who's also at Atento. Can you wave, Sean? We have Ethan Harkey. We have Kathy Fox, back in the back there. We have Mitchell Sims. And we have Kristen Towles back there on the computer. This is our leadership team as 1 Million Cups. And we thank our sponsors, Topeka Coffee, also 36 Degrees North, for allowing us to have this event and supporting us. Jamie's just been wonderful, and Abby with supporting us in this endeavor. Now, just a few housekeeping things. This is not a pitch. This is a presentation. 1 Million Cups is out of the Kauffman Foundation, which is in Kansas City. And what we want to do is make sure that we are in a nice, friendly environment. We want you to provide feedback to the presenters, but to be respectful of their idea. And we ask that our presenters would give an ask of us, and not for customers or money, but they would give an ask of us as a community of how we can best support and help your vision, all right? We also have a thought leader for today, for the first part, who is Julie Christner of Juju Jams, and she's going to guide us a little bit through Kendall's presentation on the back end. So once Kendall presents, then we'll pass the mic. Julie will be our first. Actually, you know what, Julie, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and Juju Jams just for 2 seconds? Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Christner, the owner of Juju Jams. I'm a sleepwear loungewear line that I started in 2012. So I just had an idea of all my tops have a supportive bra inside of them. So for women, you can be presentable, be around teenage boys, you're at the lake with your friends, and you want to be in your pajamas, but yet not have to wear a bra. So it's an adjustable bra that's inside all of my, it's a mesh, breathable, adjustable bra. So that was kind of my idea. We started making them in my garage apartment in 2012. I got into a Dallas market in about 2015. Now all my production is made in Los Angeles. So everything is cut and sewn there, and I have a production manager that watches over all of my production and my manufacturing. They ship it to Tulsa, and then I ship it to stores and boutiques from my house at 29th and Lewis. So that's kind of where it all started, and it's just grown very organically. And now I'm in a Canadian showroom, and so I'm in about 40 Canada stores right now. So I have a website called jujujams.com. So we do all our photo shoots and stuff here in Tulsa. And my lady, her name is Tina McQuaid. She does all my work on my social media. So that's a kind of a niche.
Thank you. Let's give her a hand, guys. Wonderful. So we will bring this wonderful presenter up. She actually came to us a couple months ago and was in the crowd, and we ended up moving around. She says, "Hey, I am a computer engineer in the day, but in the evening, I have this wonderful line that I'm presenting, and I would love to present to you guys." And so we said, let's book her. And so you guys are in for a treat. Kendall Vernon with Gaidama. Kendall.
Hi, thank you for the great introduction. You just let me know when to start. Just jump into it.
It's all you.
Okay, thanks. So again, my name is Kendall Vernon. I'm the owner and founder of Gaidama, the first company to bring premium grappling gear to the women's jiu-jitsu market.
As Erin said, I'm also a full-time software engineer by day. I have a master's of engineering and computer engineering from TU. My husband and I also own and run a jiu-jitsu academy in Midtown called Primal Jiu-Jitsu. And personally, I'm an athlete, coaching competitor, and have been for about 5.5 years. We have a 1-year-old baby who just turned 1 a couple weeks ago, and I've got another one on the way, so we definitely got our hands full. So let's just jump into it here. So I founded Gaidama because there was a huge hole in the women's jiu-jitsu market. Before Gaidama, women were forced to choose between either gear that was designed for women but not for grappling, or for grappling but not for women. So in the former category, think like Lululemon and other athletic brands, and in the latter category, there are plenty of jiu-jitsu brands on the market, but none of them tailored to the women's community in specific. A couple grievances that women have with either of these, any of the products on the market, are the waistband. So imagine being in the middle of a fight and having to worry about pulling up your pants. It's a nightmare. And another one is even the most well-touted so-called squat-proof leggings aren't truly opaque. And so a lot of women, myself included, found themselves wearing compression shorts either over or under their spats, which is what we call jiu-jitsu leggings, just to feel covered and confident. In addition, in the women but not for grappling category, very few, if any, of these products use this low friction compression fabric that we like for jiu-jitsu. And in the grappling but not for women category, again, these products are tailored, they're unisex cut, so they're not tailored for women. A few of the major differentiating factors that Gaidama brings to the table are this anti-slip waistband. So I've just had so much amazing feedback from the women's community about this feature. We have a dual elastic band with an embedded draw cord that doesn't move around when you're rolling. That feature just can't be overstated enough. Women appreciate it so much. And then another big one is this double paneling. So we have a extra layer of sweat wicking fabric in the saddle area to give women extra confidence and peace of mind when they're training. We also use only premium compression fabric. It's this low friction fabric that women like for jiu-jitsu. There's no center seam, and they're fit to flatter the female figure, which these are all features that women appreciate. So just market, there's not a lot of data in the jiu-jitsu market. Most to come by, but I've pieced together some numbers. I think we're going to have to go through a few more years before we can really quantify like the growth of the market. But needless to say, it's growing at a really fast rate, and it's predicted to at least double over the next 4 years. In addition to the jiu-jitsu market alone, which is what the numbers represent, I believe that Gaidama could easily move into the women's wrestling market, which is a similar market with similar needs and is similarly unmet. In addition, the women's MMA and fightwear market, same kind of thing. And then most women who train jiu-jitsu cross-train in yoga and lifting, so I think there's at least a fraction of that market that we could capture as well. And then finally, the beauty and accessories. So here's a look at our timeline. So back in November 2018 is when I started designing the initial sketches for the product. And I spent about a year prototyping in February 2019 to January 2020. I made my first bulk order in February 2020. Of course, I was like right when COVID hit. So there was kind of a lag there between when I placed my first order and launched in June. We grossed $3K in the first month and then sold out of everything I had pretty quickly after that. So I added extended sizing and 4 different length options to my line. And since then, I've sold out so many times, like it's hard for me to keep these products in stock. In February of this year, I started a youth line, which has really taken off. And then just this last weekend, actually, I was in Florida with our first booth at the American Grappling Federation event, which they had their Nogi Nationals tournament in Florida this weekend. And so we had our first booth there, and it did really well. And we also have our logo on there. 42 foot by 42 foot championship map, which looks really nice on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So here we're now. So in 2020 last year, that's from June to December when I launched, and a lot of that time I only had one product. It goes 36K. Our gross margins are terrific. They're 72 to 84%. Cost to acquire customers super, super low. I spend almost no money on advertising. I do a little bit of Google ads, but most of it's done through my ambassador program or just through social media, which I run myself. The return customer rate is about 20%, and the average order value and return customer average order value both around $65. A few things that make Gaidama special: we're the first company to this niche market. We have a lot of eco-friendly policies. All of our packaging materials are recyclable, recycled, and reusable. And we donate quarterly to the Ocean Cleanup Project, which a lot of people appreciate. We have a really strong social media presence, a really loyal following there, a great ambassador program. Some of the highest level jiu-jitsu athletes in the world are wearing Gaidama right now and love it. An email subscription list, again, Mirkatsu collabs kind of a, so Mirkatsu is a worldwide, well-known artist in the martial arts community specifically, and he doesn't really do a lot of commissions anymore, but I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I have this super awesome product for women. Would you be interested in doing some commissions for us? And he's like, yes. So now we have Mirkatsu graphics on our products, which really gives us an edge in the jiu-jitsu market. Here's just a look at some of our competition. You can see that Gaidama is checking all the boxes for women's jiu-jitsu. Other jiu-jitsu brands, really the only thing that we're getting out of them is the low friction fabric. There's just nothing for women in the jiu-jitsu market specifically. The lower end kind of athletic wear leggings are really only checking the for women box. And then Lululemon does check a few, and that's probably like the second favorite of women who train. But again, like the waistband doesn't stay put, it's just a nightmare. They don't use the low friction fabric that we like, and they don't have the same double paneling feature. So a few things that we'd like to do next. Of course, we want to scale production. This is not only an open market, but a hungry market. And so I know that if I had products to put into this market, they would be well received. So new products, definitely want to grow the ambassador program, get some more of these world-class athletes wearing Gaidama, optimize the website, search engine optimization, things like that. Move into those new markets I was talking about, wrestling, MMA, fight wear, yoga lifting, etc. And then grow the international presence. So right now, a very small percentage of our business is done internationally, and that's mostly because of the shipping costs. But I know that those women want this product, and so I'm trying to look for a way to make it more accessible for international business. And that's really it. Put our favorite review here at the top, and yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Kendall, what is your ask of us?
So a big thing that I'm looking for here is just direction. So I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm an engineer. I'm not an entrepreneur, but I leave 100% in the business. Just looking at the sales, you can see that it's just done great. The community is really hungry for it, and I want to figure out a way to expand it, to make it more accessible for them. Again, that international step is a huge one for me. Right now, my manufacturing is done overseas, and that can be kind of a headache to get it back over here, and the communication can be troubling. So I'm just looking for any kind of direction or resources or whatever. And then I know you said no money or customers, but also I want money, so that too.
Well, isn't she doing a remarkable job not to know what she's doing? Y'all can do better than that. Wow, I wouldn't believe that you don't know what you're doing. I would honestly.
I'm making it up as I go.
So we have our first question by our thought leader, Julie.
Yeah. Where do you make your contacts? And I think networking, I think that's how you can grow your business so much. I mean, because Oklahoma, it's not a garment industry here. So, I mean, I had to do the same thing. I just had to learn as I went along and stuff. So I think that it's not like we have any garment factories into which we need something like that here, because I think there are a lot of people that you've got Clary Sage, you've got Oklahoma State University, where you've got the designers coming out of there. You know what I'm saying? So they have to go east and west coast to get jobs. So I think eventually it'd be great to have some sort of manufacturing in this area. But so where do you find you're making your contacts and networking to grow your business?
Right here, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a path to that. So that's something that I could definitely use help with. Oh, I'm sorry. The question. Sorry, I was supposed to repeat the question. Oh, she has a mic. Okay, I don't have to repeat the question. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. So I don't have contacts, and that's part of the problem is that I just don't know anybody else in this space, or I've reached out online to a few manufacturing companies, but I don't get a response because I'm so small scale right now, and I don't really ask the right questions. I don't think so. Definitely, that's something that I can use help with.
We can help you with contacts.
Yay!
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, questions. Who has a question for Kendall? All the way in the back.
Thank you for presenting. My question is, what does Guy Dom mean?
Thank you for asking. I was hoping that somebody would. The question is, what does Gaidama mean? It's a composite word that I kind of made up. I played with this for a long time. I really wanted both the logo and the name to really represent what we're trying to do here. So I'll start with the logo, even though that wasn't your question. So the logo is a kitsune, which is kind of this Japanese legendary folklore creature that is often represented as a woman and is usually kind of cunning and crafty and wise and powerful and that kind of thing. And the name itself, the first three letters, Gai, are Basque, and they mean having the capacity to overcome, capable, and Dama is lady in Spanish. So together it kind of means like a capable, strong woman. Thank you for asking.
Question? Oh, right here.
Great presentation. I'm Malachi with I2E. On your market slide, is 66 million, is that how much is the wearables in Jiu-Jitsu, or is that just the market in general, like classes and all that stuff combined?
Good question. So the question was, for the marketing numbers, was the 66 million just wearables in Jiu-Jitsu, or did that include also things like classes and such? And the answer is it's just wearables. So I didn't take into account any income for classes or anything. That's completely separate market than what we're trying to target. So those numbers are exclusively the gear that we wear in that way. Thank you, Pastor.
Nick, to follow up, you said that your product is sold out, almost instantly. So do you feel like your biggest need is just to have the money to do more product, or is it to find new channels? If you're selling out instantly, you kind of found that demand. So kind of talk me through what is your biggest need?
Sure. So the question again was, I mentioned that I sell out really fast, and do I feel like part of the problem is, do I need money to have more product than I have, or do I need to find new avenues for selling the product? Did I explain that? Okay. So I do sell out really fast, and so there are a couple issues here. One of them, obviously, Gaidam is 100% funded by my own capital right now, which, I'm just an engineer, I have a family, and have, kids, so it's like kind of limited, like how much I'm willing or can fiscally invest in it. So part of the problem is definitely like where the money is coming from. 100% of what I've gotten, I've reinvested in the company, and that's why I've been able to at least get as far as I have. But that's definitely a limiting factor, like not having the funds to buy product to sell is an issue. But another one is I'm learning as I go. So sometimes, I buy a bulk order in 7 different sizes, and then 2 of them sell out immediately, and then I have a lot of leftover inventory for a couple others. So I'm kind of learning, where the market is, really, really demanding and where it's not.
What is the cost?
Okay, the question is, what is the cost of my product? So do you mean like what I pay?
What would I pay?
What would you pay?
Yeah.
So the black full-length leggings that we sell on the first slide, those are $68 plus tax. The ones that we add the near tracksuit graphics onto, I add $10 on, so it's $78 plus tax. And then some of the different length options and the sizes they kind of fluctuate.
Felicia?
Have you considered fashion factoring, or do you have you
Factoring? Okay, so the question is, have I considered fashion factoring for my business, and have I heard of it? And both of the answers to that are no. I don't know what that means.
Can you
So
explain a little bit?
I'd love to hear.
Yeah, so fashion factoring, usually with the fashion industry,
Okay.
So usually in the fashion industry, you pre-sale to a distributor, usually a retailer. And so say they order 600 leggings. So then you will go to your factory and say, okay, the minimum is 300 leggings. So then you would sell that legging purchase order to a factory bank, and they would pay for it from the factory. And then once the store gives you the money, then you pay back the bank. So that way you can get a larger quantity of products without having to put in your capital. You just use the sale that you made as kind of collateral for the bank. And there's tons of fashion factoring, like specific for fashion factoring bank. they do that with, doesn't matter what size design you want.
Okay, I really appreciate the explanation. That might be something that we could consider. Right now, everything is sold online through the website to an individual consumer, so I don't, there's no brick and mortar store that sells Gaidama. There's no brick and mortar jujitsu store anywhere in the world. It's all sold online or within academies. I have considered, trying to, sell through organizations like the American Grappling Federation and maybe some of the larger academies, but even so, like, they're not really going to be buying huge scale. So that's something that I definitely need to explore and is on my list of things to do, but that's just not quite where I'm at right now.
That sounds like a conversation if you all.
Definitely.
Any other questions? All the way in the back.
Question is, what does your team currently look like, and where are you hopeful to expand to in the next year?
Good question. The question was, what does my team currently look like and what would I like to expand to in the next year or so? So up until about 2 weeks ago, the team was me. So I built the website, I run social media channels, I do all the marketing, design the product, sales and shipping, I package everything myself, so it's all 100% me. I just actually added somebody on to start helping me with social media because that's kind of the biggest thorn in my side. I hate doing that part. And she's super good at it. So I now have some help with the social media. And then, but outside of that, it's really just like the ambassador team. And so they're not really part of the company. They're, so I give them product and then I give them a 10% commission for their sales. And then they go out and do all the posting on social media. And that's been super, super effective so far. But that's really it.
Yeah, I was just gonna, this is more of a piece of information from the YouTube stream, but Heather McDowell from OCAST said that she would be happy to connect you with the Oklahoma Manufacturers Alliance to help you find an in-state manufacturer.
That sounds super
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, I got her email, so.
Thank you, Heather.
Any other questions? Oh, you said 5 minutes, okay.
Oh, no, just I
Oh, okay.
so could you use and it was a part-time administrative assistant, a virtual administrative assistant? I know sometimes people, as just struggling to scale like you are, can offload. There's some really excellent. I know I don't personally have one, but I know that Lee has one that he won't tell us the name of her because he doesn't, because she's so good. But there are, and I was just wondering if maybe anybody in the room had connections to an admin that you could use like 4 hours a week, that you could pay $25 an hour, or whatever it is, to offload some of these other admin details to. And like whoever asked about the team was a great question, because as you scale, you're going to need support. Have you ever contacted anybody like that? Are you interested in getting contacts for somebody like that?
Thanks, Kathy. So the question was, have I considered using an administrative assistant for some of the work that I do to help offload some of the responsibilities? And the answer is yes, I considered it, but I'm not quite to a point where I feel like I'm not quite ready to hand over the responsibility yet because everything's still so new and I'm still learning what my role is in the business and how to do it myself. And so it would be hard for me to coach somebody else on what to do because, I get different kinds of things that I have to do every day and that I'm still kind of learning how to manage some of that on my own. But I definitely would like help eventually. And so having those resources kind of on deck to use in the coming 6 to 8 months would probably be very appreciated. Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once? All right, let's give Kendall a hand.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay, we're gonna take a few minute break right here, so grab some coffee or you can use the restroom while we swap out presenters, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so we're going to get started again with the second half and our second presenter. I think that this is really wonderful to have such a community together, and you guys are asking great questions. Let's just keep the energy up and tune into these next presenters. So we actually met them a few months ago, and we've been doing some coaching back and forth and sharing notes as they try to really expand into this market space. And they have a wonderful idea, and it is what I love about this is that they are tag teaming. This is a married couple, and they're tag teaming the idea. So I really love this. We've had several lengthy conversations, but it's all been good, and I'm glad to see that they're here today to present to each and every one of you. So I present to you none other than Will and Karis Rutherford, who had their company, that Telegen, that they're going to bring to us today. All right.
Thank you, guys. Again, I'm Will. This is Karis, and we're podcast producers. I'm more of the sound engineer, audio producer. Karis is more the content producer, strategy producer. And we actually have a podcast company called Citizens of Sound, where we help businesses, influencers, artists launch podcasts from the ground up, and everything from editing, branding, promoting, to publishing. And so the idea that we're presenting with you guys today was an idea that we were thinking up during the quarantine last year, while we're all sitting at home thinking like, what's the future look like? How do we move into the future? And this is kind of an extension off of kind of what we do already. Different type of company, a different product, a different offer. There's the solution that we see for a problem coming. So a lot of businesses went remote during the pandemic and are going to stay remote, or at least at some capacity stay remote. So Telegen is getting more of a solution for internal communications using the tool of podcasting. So podcasting has kind of moved from celebrity, famous people, Top Chef, Joe Rogan, to, hey, like I have a podcast for my business where I train, I equip, I educate. You can learn everything there is about crafting, crafting clay or whatever. You can just pick whatever. There's everyone that can start a podcast for whatever reason, for whatever niche they have, or whatever expertise they offer, with whatever community they have a part of their life. And so this is more now taking that opportunity of podcasting is now a tool. So how can it be a tool now for businesses, corporations, politicians, school districts? And this is kind of where this idea comes from. It's a streamlining internal communications platform through private corporate podcasting. So again, the problem is business relations, as they shift, the traditional forms of communication aren't quite working anymore. I don't know about you, but I get so many emails a day, and it is very overwhelming to read them all, and I don't really quite have time to read a gigantic email. I'm running from kids' baseball to the gym to a client meeting to editing a podcast, and so I'm always on the run. So if I'm working for a company, I need a better solution to get a message from my employer or get a message from my manager. And so the answer is the internal corporate podcasting kind of provides a new opportunity for internal communication that can be met across a mass spectrum of employees. So think about like one central place of communication. There's so many different versions, right? There's Google, there's Slack, it's all over the place. This would be an audio version to hear directly from your employer, directly from your manager, that everybody can hear the same message on the same day or within the next couple of days. It could be an onboarding process that can be streamlined through like seasons of podcast episodes that are available immediately, whenever or wherever the employee may be.
So to reiterate what Will said, the average full-time employee actually receives 120 emails per day, which is several hours of their 8-hour work week. So that's a huge problem that we see coming, especially number two, as work is remote. So you have Amazon, you have Facebook, you have American Express, you have Coinbase that all have to go remote and are actually planning to do it long term. So what that means is you're going to have these huge corporations now having lengthy emails from HR with updates, from their CEO to try to like fill the gap of employee engagement, since you no longer are going to be seeing
people face to face. The third problem that we really see happening with employee satisfaction is going to be that messages and emails tend to be read differently. So I often will read a text message and say, Will, is so-and-so upset with me? Is there anything I did? And he's like, oh no, they just talk like that. And so this is going to happen. And it's going to happen whenever someone's trying to relay a message that's direct, and maybe even change the course of vision for a company. People are going to get confused. People are going to get worried and anxious. So our solutions are going to be first with HR. So you're going to have people going remote. So you're going to have, you're no longer going to be having good books to flip through and the person to sit next to you, because most of our jobs now are with people from different states, if not other countries. So this is an opportunity to take HR and actually streamline it in a process like you would on Spotify. You open up a show and everything is listed, and that's the way people are going to be able to do that, to communicate the expectations for you as a new employee. And then whenever it comes to, so that's onboarding for working remote. And then the third solution, so that's kind of double, but the third solution will be allowing leadership of a company to communicate effectively with tone, which is going to be significantly more important whenever things go remote. That way it leaves employees not really guessing as to where they are, but it provides an opportunity for a CEO to be effective and quick to communicate with all their employees.
And, and creatively, keeping employees interested into what you have to say. Podcasting, you have an opportunity to bring in music and effects and edit a short, sweet message. And I think it's really, really helpful. And as we were mentioning, we've been starting to explore this a little bit with some of our clients. So and how we know that podcasting really is officially moving into a tool for businesses is in the last 6 months, our business has released like 15 new podcasts, over 15 new podcasts with 300,000 downloads. And within that, it's every different type of business. Like we're working with health and fitness, we're working with a doctor, we're working with some people from HBO who are launched something about occults. We have a spiritual group, like everybody from every type of category industry are launching podcasts. And they're using it to grow their platform, to grow their business and sell something. And we are starting to explore the idea more with people who are asking us, hey, I want to create a series of 12 episodes that I can use for onboarding with our company. And we're like, great, we'd love to help you with that. There is no exact app or platform, other than like the podcast platform. So maybe we're trying to come up with solutions like a Dropbox or like a private SoundCloud or something like that for her company. And so already we have a client who is asking this for us, and there isn't quite something developed for this yet. So kind of our idea is think of the app as maybe like a Slack meets Spotify, where you have a platform for a user and you have the platform for the manager. The user is able to get on and go through categories of their departments and seeing what episodes they haven't listened to yet from their employer or from the CEO of the company. And on the back end, the app we kind of visualize the app being something that the manager or the employer can easily record on his phone or record on his computer, upload it to a platform, pick out his favorite song of the day. It already has a pre-roll and a rollout, or a roll-in and a rollout already set up based off of how we set up, and then basically just sends it out to the platform for the employees to listen to. And on the back end, the manager is able to see who's listening and where and when. So that's also a way to kind of, not to babysit or helicopter, but just to make sure it has everybody gotten the message. So that's the app that we are envisioning for this opportunity. Like we mentioned, timing is perfect because we do live in a new world, whether we like it or not. Anyone that's going to try to plant their feet in the ground and say, no, we're going to keep doing things the old way, I don't think they'll make it very long. That's just my personal opinion. I think we've seen the fastest technological cultural advance. My mom would never have known how to use Zoom, but she was forced to learn how to use Zoom. Because we do live in a new world, the timing is kind of perfect to move into this type of communication in all types of organizations. We're in talks with GT Bynum. Hey, you should probably start a podcast where you can give Tulsans like a briefing on what's going on. So it's a central place where like just starting to think in these ways outside of the norm. It sounds almost like of course, but it takes a while for people to catch up to like these cultural changes. So the reason is that timing is important. And the second is that podcasting is on a rise. You know, you see Spotify has spent over $235 million with Megaphone, and they are competing with Apple right now. Apple is still the 60% of the podcast market, but Spotify is coming up on a nice 15%, which it's a big margin, but all the other apps are way below that. So we want to talk about target market?
Yeah, so target market would be first medium to large corporate businesses, companies and corporations, looking for ways to engage with their employees that are going remote. The second target market would just be, in general, HR departments. So from a variety of sizes. And that would be HR and then government and educational systems and agencies. So that way we're kind of covering a base of medium and large companies, and then all these other like institutions that need to get messages out to. So like you could even say a doctor's office. A doctor's office, I know it sounds way far from where we are, but a doctor's office would be able to send out a little message. And the reason why I'm thinking about this is because actually our pediatrician does this, but he uses Facebook to do it. So if you don't have Facebook, you actually don't hear his messages in which he's trying to give COVID updates and all these important updates to his clientele.
One thing I didn't mention, I just want to go back for a quick second, was this is kind of where we are with this idea. So again, we are doing podcast production as a business with Citizens of Sound, but this idea is an extension of how we could scale in the corporate world. You know, how can companies use this outside of the Apple platform, but something that's on a larger scale for audio? And we're in the place of looking to prove the concept, to get people to say, yes, this is a good idea, or yes, we need this, or yes, we're on board. And we're finding that people still quite aren't caught up that thinking that this is an exact need, but I believe it is. And typically the Midwest is a little bit slower with technological advancement than the coast. And there are, you know, lots of things like this happening on the coast. And so this is more of our idea of how can in the Midwest can we push this concept forward faster. And so that's what I wanted to say was we're in that stage of proving this concept and getting research from businesses. All right, we got to wrap it up, getting pretty soon.
Okay, well, this is just an example of market sizes from different size companies. So you see that there's plenty of fish in the water, plenty of opportunity. So these are our direct competitors. So these people are actually in the process of doing what we're talking about. The only person that has a web app is actually Storyboard, and it's not even as advanced as some of the ideas that we're coming up with. And then our indirect competitors are Anchor and Castbox, which are basically just platforms where you can record and then upload to different streams. So our competitive advantages. So right now we want to have a heavy focus on HR because we realize that that's going to become an issue with remote work, as well as making sure that we provide in-house editing options for larger corporations, for CEOs who do not have the time to sit and work on an app. That's just not even going to remotely happen for them. And so we want to be able to figure out a solution to make it easy for them. And so also with the editing, there's no competitor that offers licensed music at this time. So Storyboard doesn't even do this. The reason why we think licensed music would be so important is because we want employees to be able to feel the podcast. We want them to be able to feel the community and a sense of what they're a part of. And there's nothing better than to drive a little emotion with some music. And then lastly, we want to ensure that no employee is left behind. We do realize that podcasting does have a level of an issue for people who are hearing impaired. And so we want to come up with a creative solution to always make sure that we're also offering a back-end availability for people who podcasting just simply will not work for.
Transcriptions.
Our pricing model is going to be on a subscription model. So most people are going to start at a base. And then as they, have more listeners, as they have more add-ins and desires,
More employees, yeah.
more employees, then you're going to have the pricing go up. It'll cap out whenever it gets to a place where you have a large corporation where they're saying, this isn't for us, write our music. So that's where basically it begins to cap out and become custom. And then
That's you.
That's me. My name's Garris.
And so this is our idea, and our ask for you is two things. One, if you were working for a company, would you like something like this? We just want to know if that sounds like something that you would like to utilize, or do you want to stick to email? And then second, you get a second ask.
My second ask is simply, we want to be able to try this out. So we're actually looking to have a large, medium-sized company willing to let us try things out with them. Experiment with them at no cost to them. And so if you guys have any ideas or connections, we would love someone to help us be a part of the project.
All right, wonderful. Let's give them a hand, guys. Questions? All right, we got hands flew up. All right, let's start with Kristen. We'll go to Miles, and then gentleman here with the sports jacket.
What age range do you think would be interested in this solution? I mean, I know you're targeting corporations, but what age range do you think would be?
So the question is, what age range would be interested in the solution? And I think the majority of this is going to be, it's millennials. So in the next couple, 5 to 10 years, the entire workforce is going to be changing pretty drastically. So I think anyone from 45 and up until, working age, typically about 18, 20, I think is mostly people who would be interested in it. That's the majority of podcasting market is actually Gen X and millennials right now.
And 60% of Americans do have iPhones or more have a smartphone. And at least 30% of Americans are listening to podcasts on a daily basis. So that's already a large enough percentage of America that is listening to podcasts, that is familiar with the concept of what is a series, what are episodes, how do you listen to something on your iPhone. So, yeah.
Miles.
If I wanted to be a pilot customer this month, what would that process of engagement look like?
If you wanted to be a private customer,
Pilot customer.
oh, a pilot customer, what would that process look like? Just an email.
A conversation.
A conversation. I would love to chat about it. We'll have to figure out exactly what your needs
Well,
are.
he means the process of bringing them on, not the introduction, but in terms of what is your onboarding process?
What is our onboarding process? I'm sorry for that confusion. So basically what happens is we spend a little bit heavy of a time up front working with our customers. So our goal is for us to do everything and basically just be offering them solutions. So basically we go from creating concept with them, maybe like an hour debriefing. We work all the back end, provide everything for approval, and that's really the way it starts. And then we consult about gear, we consult about all these other things to streamline the process. Because our ultimate goal is for it to be really easy. So it does require some client intention in the beginning and conversation. And then after that, it's a matter of simply our clients just recording. Once it's up and going, it's good to go, and it's a very streamlined process.
Yeah, the setup process of branding, like what a cover looks like, and what is your theme music, and you have an intro. You now have an intro. What is the design of the show? If you want to call it show, for lack of a better word, that is the upfront work. And then once that is set in motion, then it's just it's streamlined. It's quick. We have it working, flow together.
Gentlemen in sports coat.
So I definitely see the value in voice memos, that kind of thing. My question is for large companies that already have in-house internal videos that they're putting out on a regular basis, what is your main value add to them for all of these?
So the question is for large corporations that are already doing in-house videos, what is the benefit of them potentially having a podcast? So we actually have a lot of people who will take their YouTube and toss it into a podcast, and you say, well, why are people doing that? The reason why is because our life is so on the go and remote. So what you could have is employees driving to work, listening to all the updates, and they don't have to sit and watch a video, which takes their work. So you're thinking of really busy people, busy employees who don't necessarily have the time or don't desire to sit and watch because they would much rather listen because they're on the go. So maybe they're out for a run, whatever the case may be, they're getting ready for work.
Yeah.
It provides more options.
And I get this question all the time, like, whenever we're launching podcasts for people, should I do YouTube at the same time? I'm like, well, you can. It's a bigger beast. Do you have the funds to hire a video crew to make it look professional? And also, you'll be splitting your downloads in half at the beginning. So I always encourage people like that, if you want to, I think it's great to establish that. You have a market that is very YouTube, very video driven. But then you have a different market that's very audio. So they are two different demographics and markets, and it's important to hit both. But sometimes you are splitting the downloads between the two. And so again, the audio would be a solution for people who are like, I don't have time to watch this video right now.
Any other questions? Tara?
I think that this is a great concept. I will honestly say that I'm still not quite clear on it. Have you thought about with your pitch actually giving an example, like making the first thing be an example of what you're talking about, so that for the people who need to hear it, they can just hear what you're talking about?
So the question is, our pitch is still a little confusing because a lot of it does require the imagination of it. And so her question is, have we considered actually tossing in the very beginning, potentially opening with a soundbite or sample of what it would look like? We haven't, but that is genius, and we officially plan to.
Thank you for my information so that I can have
Yes.
Thank you, I really.
So whoever wants the first pilot, maybe we can talk to us after. So maybe you'll be in our next presentation.
All right, Mitch?
Hey guys. So on the competitor side, like on the corporate side, indirect competitors.
That one?
Yeah. So we use currently the Office 365 and the app called Stream, and we publish internet. And I like it because it translates. It gives you like the minute of what the topic of the conversation picks up on what really just kind of felt, I didn't know if you're aware of that one. It comes with your business subscription. So we didn't know what to use. We wanted to provide the concept. So that's what we said.
What's it called again?
360, Marketing 360. So he mentioned Marketing 360, and the fact is,
It's Office 360.
oh, Office 360.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying
It's
Marketing 360. So you're saying Microsoft comes with something similar where it basically allows you to do that in-house? No, I didn't know that Microsoft.
It comes with all the
360
business.
But I will study it.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't quite use Office stuff anymore, so I'm a little bit out of that. world,
But so thank you for bringing
so
it up.
thank you.
Right here.
You mentioned SoundCloud and the private links. I mean, what's the big advantage as opposed to just having somebody have a private SoundCloud and just have the links and they have a playlist for the onboarding? What's the big difference in the free time?
So the question is, with SoundCloud, you have private links, and a lot of these will provide you with private links. And so he's saying, what's the point of creating a whole other web app if you could just have private links? Primarily because it's a link. So in place, I don't know if it was very clear, but the web app actually would be an app that's basically, say 36 Degrees North had one, it would look like a 36 Degrees web, like podcast app. So the app in the employees would feel as if it belongs to them. But it's a private one that would require a login for the employees to access. So versus a link that feels like your own, and that's for the sake of employee engagement, since the world is going so well.
And SoundCloud's really branded as the underground indie trance pop scene, which is great, but I feel like for corporate, that's not as a professional option for like, hey,
That's
here's
a great way to
SoundCloud
get
link.
started for
But
people.
that's kind of the way that we're testing it out right now, offering private podcasts.
Back on the couch.
For you guys, would you be open to growing this to a place where you know the product is proven and selling out to like a Breezy HR or some HR specific company to incorporate it?
The question is, would we be willing to, build this out, get all the proof of concept, get it going, and actually sell it out to like an HR company? 110%. 110%. And so, yes, that's actually something that we've talked, is looking at the string welding, is this something we would like to do? And it's something we would both be interested in.
Anyone else? Going once. All right, let's give them a hand. Thanks, guys. So, we will be back next month, the third Wednesday, with two wonderful speakers. And at the same time, 9 a.m. right here, 36 degrees north. So we welcome you all to come back, bring a friend. I'm so glad, hopefully these masks will be leaving soon and we can actually go back to some sense of normalcy, but not affect your sales, of course. Let's continue to stay on the radar. We'll keep you in touch with you in terms of things that are coming up. Also, one thing, we do have tomorrow evening, we have a fireside chat, 6 p.m. over at Hoberton, right around the corner. 6 p.m. We have a wonderful presenter, Eli Johannesson, who will be talking about his story. He owns a company called 360 Engineering Group, and they're a very successful group. He's going to be doing a personal story. We'll be having a dialogue, a fireside chat. That's tomorrow, 6 p.m. You're invited to come. If you would like to come, if you come see me or Brentum, can you wave your hand? You can see Brentum, and he will get you the link to register. We have limited food and limited seating, but we want to make sure that anybody who would like to come, you're more than welcome to come. All right? So, once again, thanks 36 Degrees. Thanks to Pekka. Thanks the action team, but leadership team. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and drive safe. Thank you.
That scenario, they would actually we do have a street that's separate. Okay, so basically that with all of the students and stuff that we use on our podcast, basically we can web app to instantly like do some basic adjustments. So that's why like it's like you can take the and we in-house. Thank you. I'm like doing that and then it's more fun stuff. Thank you. Thank you.